Hi, we're the Loves, Team Missionaries to Zimbabwe, Africa. My name is Steve.
I'm Anthea. I'm a third-generation white Zimbabwean. I was born and raised in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is located in the southern part of Africa, and the two main recognized people groups in Zimbabwe are the Ndebele and the Shona. We will be working primarily with the Shona. I was raised around the Shona people, and I've always had a passion and a desire to work amongst them. And the Lord has graciously called us to Zimbabwe to work with them. And this time I get to return back to my homeland, but with my husband Steve and our three wonderful children, Ian, who is 7, Fiona is 4, and Kayla is 2.
Now we will be going with TEAM. TEAM is an acronym for the Evangelical Alliance Mission. They're based out of Wheaton, Illinois. God has distinctly called us to Zimbabwe, Africa, through various different circumstances through the past 8 years. And we're going to be committing to ourselves, our lives, to a program called ANESU, which was founded by Bud Jackson, as you'll see in a minute. ANESU is a Shona phrase. It means He is with us, or God is with us, as we work with the people, the Shona people in Zimbabwe. And our primary goal is to connect the North American church to the Zimbabwean evangelical church. And as you watch this video, I want to encourage you to look and see Zimbabwe, see Zim, and see how maybe you can possibly participate with us and partner with us as we take this journey to Zimbabwe. Please take a few minutes to let your heart just reflect on the video to come.
HIV and AIDS has ravished sub-Saharan Africa for decades. Zimbabwe has not been spared from this destructive disease. Parents have died and orphans abound. Yet in the midst of this darkness, there is light. In Shona, ANESU means God with us. In response to this disease, Bud and Mandy Jackson founded the ANESU Partnership to reach people infected, affected, and at risk by HIV and AIDS in Zimbabwe. Bud was born and raised in Zimbabwe. Because of his upbringing, he approaches ministry with an incredible knowledge of the culture and intimate love for the people. Mandy also grew up in Zimbabwe. She too has a deep love and respect for the country. Together, Bud and Mandy have spent decades caring for this nation.
We believe that ANESU is providing to the church a gateway opportunity to enter in at a heart level in addressing the needs of Zimbabweans infected, affected, and at risk by HIV and AIDS. The challenge of HIV and AIDS in Zimbabwe is huge, but we have an opportunity to address it on a number of different levels. We address the physical need of the people of Zimbabwe through natural medicine. Secondly, we can respond to the spiritual need of the people in Zimbabwe through the local church. Thirdly, we can educate both in the church and outside of the church at every level of the challenge at which education is required in the face of HIV and AIDS. And then fourth is orphan care.
One of the people bringing physical aid by partnering with ANESU is Julie Van Zeveren. As medical director for ANESU, Julie leads a natural medicine clinic and maintains an herb garden.
Here at the clinic, I work with the local staff to bring healing and treatment to people with all different types of ailments. The Shona saying of Mariano Ponesa Tino Rakwa, God heals and we treat. To use the things that God has given us in nature to help people. What an incredible empowerment that they would have knowing that they can use things, that it's okay, that it's safe.
One of Julie's patients is Ian. Ian suffers from sickle cell anemia. One of his symptoms from this disease is skin ulcers. Doctors in Zimbabwe told Ian his wounds would never heal.
When I discovered in 2003 that I had sickle cell anemia, it was a difficult time. Of course, I struggled and I thought it would be the end of my life, but when Julie came, she actually helped me with the wounds and used the herbal solution, which was so good, and it was the best medicine which I ever used.
Again, we can't be thankful enough for the opportunity, or I can't be thankful enough for the opportunity that I have to serve here and to be a part of ANESU and to be a part of these partnerships.
ANESU looks to continue its education efforts through partners like Rob Chifokoyo. Rob founded Dare to Serve in the capital city of Harare. His ministry utilizes the HIV and AIDS prevention curriculum, Reach for Life.
The benefits of Reach for Life is that you have a tool that can disciple, that you can use to disciple young people. And the thing with the tool as well is that it makes a leader out of the person you're discipling, that they can go and disciple other kids. For me, the biggest positive about the relationship with Anesu and Bud is that, you know, as a young ministry and as a ministry, like there's a lot of passion and there's a lot of fire to go out and do a whole bunch of things. So it's really good to have that relationship with people that, you know, that someone who already knows what's ahead or who can see a little bit better than you can. With AIDS and HIV just ripping through a generation, we just really feel that as part of whatever God is doing to reach out to people, that the gospel is the answer rather than everything else that's been thrown at the people in those communities.
Anesu meets spiritual needs by coming alongside passionate people like Pastor Henry. Henry pastors the Congregation of Hope Valley Assembly in Rugari, Zimbabwe.
It has been my burden as a pastor that when we talk of ministering, we are talking about ministering to the total being of a human being. According to UNICEF, it is the right of a child to have proper and decent accommodation. And when God is fulfilling these promises in our community, I am so happy and I feel like I am fulfilling the plan of God and we become the light and the voice to the community.
Henry is becoming a light in the community, in part by taking in discarded children like Duncan. After Duncan's father died of AIDS and his mother became HIV positive, the only family member that would take him in was a physically abusive aunt who viciously beat him with heavy electric cables. I lived with my mother and father in Mutare, and my father died. So my uncle took me to live with him in Kwekwe. But I was abused when I lived in Kwekwe. So Pastor Henry got me and brought me here, where I am now enrolled in school.
We would love your participation with us here in Zimbabwe. There are 4 ways in which you can become meaningfully involved. First and foremost, you can be informed. Keep informed, with the hope that that information will turn into a burning vision and a passion that will drive you to engage at a deeper level. We're involved in a spiritual battle. We need prayer support. And then you can give, because we face very practical needs here that require funding. And then you can come and engage with us. We will find a place for you where you could fit and you could make a contribution to the greater whole and be part of the team in a very hands-on kind of a way.